Hello and welcome to Long Island Weather Report's weekend weather report as we look at a winter weather advisory for Long Island. Having problems tonight with the site. Can't pull up all the observations. You can see what's going on here. Don't know what's going on. I'm having issues with certain websites as well, so maybe something going on with the internet again. All right, there it goes, finally. 30 degrees at Islip, so dew points has dropped to 7. Much better air than, oh yeah, there's something wrong here. Look at what it said, high 7 and a low -1. That is not at all what's going on. So I don't, everything is just gone, everything is just going crazy. But anyway, temperatures around 30. Let's look at what the day was like at Islip, and we'll see what's going on here, if this displays the right observations for the site. We had some pretty windy conditions today. Could have used a wind advisory. Winds were gusting up into the 40s good part of the day. And temperatures also got into the 40s, so a lot warmer than I expected, with a lot of high clouds and some lower clouds as well. It wasn't clear. Though tonight it's finally cleared out, but we have the clouds coming in from the next system. So if I do I dare try to show the high temperatures? I don't think this is going to work. Nope. Not going to work, sorry. So we're having a problem here with this site. I don't know what's going on. Let's go and look at the, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Let's just do this. I'm going to do this. And I don't think this is going to solve it, but let's try the incognito window and see if there's just a bad cookie in my browser. I don't think that's what it is, though, but we'll see. We're going to, I doubt it is. Nope. So that's not the issue. So whatever the case is, we're going to have to use this site to look at the highs and the lows today. And then we'll go and look at the briefing for the storm. So high got up to 45, low at 36. Yeah, 9 degrees above normal for today, and it's still 30 out there, so it's not all that cold. But the air quality feels tremendously better than last night. You can see the cirrus starting to work its way in ahead of the next system. We kind of never really got rid of it, but you're going to see this is the system here that's going to be racing to our area tomorrow night. It's right now coming out of the Rockies, but it's going to be racing here in the zonal flow. You're going to look at the satellite, see all the clouds we had today. But yeah, definitely having a problem with this. But you can see winter weather advisory for Long Island, New Jersey, and Connecticut, and in the north, winter storm warnings. So let's look at the briefing from the National Weather Service here. And you can see here, now they're using the Adobe Acrobat to download the briefings. Oh, okay. There's going to be a whole lot of changes going on, and it's only going to get worse. So the heavier snow is going to be the north and west, 5 to 7 inches. New York City, northeastern New Jersey, snow accumulation 3 to 5 inches, locally up to 6 inches possible, especially northeast Suffolk. And I'm going to draw the map here just to kind of point out where I think the heavier snow is going to be. So locally up to 6 inches north, so they still think it's going to be a little on the higher side. And then there's another storm that we'll have to watch for the next Tuesday that's more impressive. This is their map, so it looks like they increased the numbers a little bit. And they also think there'll be some ice accumulation, too, because it will be sleet for this. So, yeah, we will go and draw that map up, actually, in a little bit. Let's first look at the models. And so here you go. Here's the satellite. All right, our weather prediction, weather map here. You can see that high over us. Here are the lows, the parade of lows that's coming, surface analysis. Again, you see the high, and here are the lows. So the colder air definitely building into the picture here. And you can see that high pressure will be sliding offshore tomorrow, and then here comes the system. You can see it's a very close track to us, and that's why I think that some of these higher snowfall totals may be a bit overdone. All right, so let's go and look at the HRRR. Well, because that was the JFS, a lower resolution model. So let's take a look at some of these higher resolution mesoscale models as we head into tomorrow. And actually, we'll do the dew points and wind flow first. So you can see right now we've got dry air in place. Dew points are pretty low, north winds. But the problem is once the storm gets close, the winds shift to the south. That's not really a great direction for snowfall. You notice the dew points are below freezing, though. So they kind of stay below freezing until later on at night. But that's kind of hard to believe with the southerly flow, but it's not that strong. So, it's really just on one of these tricky forecasts again with the borderline temperatures that we have. And then behind it, we see the return of the northwest winds. The dew points aren't that low, so the Sunday won't be all that cold. So its air mass isn't that cold to begin with. Temperatures tonight only going to drop into the mid-20s, and then tomorrow we're going to make it up into the mid-30s, upper 30s perhaps, and maybe even warmer than that because the models have been, we overperformed today with the temperatures. And then the temperatures stay throughout the event right around freezing. So, yeah, it won't be powdery snow. It seems like we never get that anymore. And then Sunday will probably be upper 30s probably. So, maybe mid-30s depending on cloud cover. But let's first talk about the storm. So, that's what the HRRR is showing. Let's go ahead and look at our precipitation. So, tomorrow is dry for the most part. We see the precipitation start right around 7 o'clock. And you see what's going on. So, it does have some heavy snow band, like a snow, I guess the word is thump, a thump of snow that we're going to have in the evening hours, perhaps around as early as 8, 9 o'clock across Long Island. It's going to be this thump. It won't last for very long. It's only going to last for a couple of hours. But that's where you're going to see your accumulation. Then once we get toward midnight, you can see the sleet. It changes over to sleet and then ends as maybe a little bit of light rain or drizzle early Sunday morning, and then it's out of here. It's a thump, all right. So in that thump, you could get inch, maybe even a little more than that. So 3 hours, you extrapolate, all right. And you look at where those temperatures. Obviously, the North Shore is going to get more. So let's take a look and see what the HRRR is for snowfall. And yeah, this looks a little bit overdone, I think. But the general idea, I think, is that Connecticut and perhaps the North Fork and North Shore of Suffolk could see the higher amounts. This is what the HRRR has, all right. I'm not sure if I'm buying it. We're going to look at some of the other models as well. But you can see off to the south, nothing. I mean, if you're on the Jersey Shore, you're not going to get anything. Most of it's going to be over just to our north or maybe just over Long Island, Suffolk County, perhaps. So that thump is very hard to predict, all right? But when you look at this, this is the accumulation. This isn't going to account for the mixing. So if we look at this total positive depth change, I think this one's a little bit more accurate. You can see the higher amounts tend to be on the North Shore, less on the South Shore. All right, so that's the HRRR. All right, we don't get FGen with this, so we can't use that parameter. Let's go look at the NAM next. We have enough of the 0Z NAM, and we can actually look at FGen with this. So let's go ahead and look at that. So, and you can see there's some really impressive FGen here with this storm. There is, and that's why I say it's not going to last very long, but when that thump is overhead, sort of like the last storm we had, the last one that gave us that 3 inches of wet snow, this is going to be very similar to that. It's going to be a thump of snow when it hits. It's going to be a heavy thump of snow that's going to last for a couple of hours. You can see there's some really impressive FGen levels here. And that's even for the Jersey area on this NAM model. All right, so let's go and look at how the dew points and wind flow look on the NAM. All right, so you see that again. Southeast wind is just not a favorable wind for a heavy snowfall. I've never seen it, so that's why I'm skeptical. That's why I'm a little skeptical. All right, that's not really a good wind direction for that. All right, so let's go and look at the NAM. Now that you saw the NAM on the and you'll see again the start time right around that 7, 8 o'clock, and you see once it starts, it's going to come down heavy in a thump. But you can see the NAM has a really brief thump, and then it's already mixing. But if you notice, northeastern Suffolk from Rocky Point out to the North Fork might stay as snow, and that's why we'd see higher totals there. Otherwise, you're getting the sleet and the mixing. All right, and then maybe a little bit of light rain, a little bit of light snow at the end. So let's go and see what the NAM has on the total snowfall. And the NAM is low. Is that right? That is low. That's only showing an inch or two. See, this is what I think. This is what I tend to agree with. Is that we're not going to see, because of that warm air coming in, we're going to see this wintry mix, but it's just going to have trouble accumulating because of the southeast winds. The further north you are, I think this might be a little underdone, but you see the difference in the models here. Now, if we look at total accumulated precip, you'll see it's a decent amount. It's giving us a 1/2 inch to maybe even an inch of liquid equivalent. But a lot of that is going to be in that form of sleet and maybe rain. So it's going to be very messy tomorrow night. I think it's going to be a very messy, slushy type of deal, especially here on Long Island, unless you're on the North Shore where it'll tend to be more white. Let's go look at the HRRR run. And these are all 0Z runs, by the way. So let's look at the total accumulated precip on the HRRR, which is a bit heavier than the NAM. You can see it's got some 1-inch amounts, less in Jersey, and unfortunately, this is where the worst of the drought is, and they're going to be getting less precipitation over there. That seems to be the trend in the models. Let's go and look at. I don't usually use the longer range models in this, but we will go ahead and look at the GFS and see what that has for total snowfall as well, and see if that's GFS still is a good amount. Yeah, it's still leaning toward the heavier amounts. So the GFS similar to the HRRR, but again, if you look at the way the system looks and the track of it, it's just, I mean, it has snow and then it switches it over to rain. So this is why I think these numbers are overdone. I honestly do think they're overdone. So now let's draw the map, and I'll show you what I gotta pause this for just a moment. And we're gonna draw the map. All right, I drew the map up already, but I'll show you what I think is going to happen, obviously. I think the totals are overdone for Long Island. Judging by the onshore flow, the storm track, I think history has shown us is that we're going to have a thump of snow that's going to drop probably for most of Long Island 1 to 3 inches in New York City as well. And then it switches over to sleet and freezing rain and probably just rain. It's just going to be very slushy. Right, more than the last time we had the cold air coming at the end, but because the cold air is not, the winds are southeast, this is not a favorable direction. Now, the North Shore could get more, mainly north of the LAE, Northern Boulevard corridor there, and the North Fork could be a little more in that spot where it's 3 to 5 inches. But the 5 to 8 inch amounts, the heavier amounts, are going to be in Connecticut, mainly north of Bridgeport, that is where we're going to see the higher amounts in Poughkeepsie, that whole area, Hudson Valley. And then as you go south into the Jersey Shore area, if you're in Tom's River, you're getting an inch or less, so probably nothing is what I'm thinking. So this is the way I see it in the models. All right, the southeast wind, that's not favorable for a good snowfall on Long Island. If this was a real good strong Arctic air mass, I'd have a different opinion. But the fact is, it is not. So these totals are overdone again, and they overdid the last one. They have a tendency to overdo, especially Upton, the snow numbers, and I think we're going to see that again. So, but if you're on the North Shore, you'll see more. I mean, these isn't really that far off from what Upton had, but I think if you're on the South Shore, you're going to see a slushy inch or so, and that's it. That's pretty much what it looks like. So, my area, Mineola, I think will get 2 to maybe 3 inches of snow in Mineola, no more than that. If you're in, say, Bayshore, you're going to probably get a slushy inch, all right? If you're more toward the North Shore in, say, Lake Grove, you're going to see closer to maybe 5 inches. But it's still going to be a very slushy, sloppy type of snow with that southeast wind. It's very water-laden. It's warm. And it's just going to be a slushy, messy type of snow, I think. So that's the way I see it anyway. We can look at another model, HDRPS, and use this one as well. See what this has. Yeah, see, the HDRPS has that brief thump, and it's such a brief thump. All right, that thump might drop a couple of inches, but then it's over. So that's the way I see it. And honestly, like I said, the temperatures are definitely borderline. But you can see how brief it is. It's in and it's out. It doesn't last very long. Now, I don't know if we get total snowfall with this, or we do. This is kind of close to what I have. It's a little over, a little more, but it's close. It's close to the way I see it anyway. So, now we get that out of the way. We get the storm done. What are we going to deal with on Sunday morning? All right, so obviously, say your Saturday night is going to be messy. All right, so later it is, the better. You're better off kind of just making sure you get back by 8 or 9 o'clock if you can, because that's when it's going to be messy out there. It's going to be slushy and messy and yucky. All right, just with that southeast wind, it's not The snow will accumulate in the grassy areas, but the roadway accumulation, we may not see that. It may just be a lot of slush, but it still may be slippery and kind of dangerous. So once we're done with the storm, what are we going to be looking at Sunday when we get going? So Sunday, after the storm here, you see the temperatures are actually, we've got a southeast wind to start the day, and then it shows over to the west. But you see, dew points aren't that low. The winds go to the north, and it could be a little bit breezy, but the air isn't that cold. So when we look at temperatures again for Sunday, we're still making it above freezing. So that's still going to be a slushy kind of mess, I think. We might even make it to 40. We all know the HRLR has underdone the temperatures lately. So we may make it up to 40 degrees. Now, as far as skies go, obviously tomorrow you're going to have a lot of high clouds increasing. We'll look at the cloud model in a moment, but if we look at some soundings, see these two lines are pretty close to each other. So probably going to have a lot of cloud cover, stratocumulus cloud cover on Sunday. Still going to be a lot of low-level moisture behind this thing. So let's go and look at some of the cloud models here. We'll actually do two today. Do the RGEM and the NAM. So let's go look at each one here. All right. So here's the RGEM. You can see those high clouds will be increasing. Jet chunk, high overcast. By afternoon, it'll just be overcast, the mid-level overcast. Obviously, clouds overnight. And then for Sunday, this is as far as we've got, but up to 15Z, it still has the clouds kind of sticking around. If I want to go a little more, see, the clouds really don't clear up at all on Sunday, unfortunately. You'll have to wait until Monday for this to finally move off to the south of us, finally, and we would have a sunny day. The NAM, let's go ahead and look at the NAM here. We have a little more of this. Obviously, same deal for tomorrow. Again, plenty of clouds. And then Sunday, plenty of clouds, but there might be some breaks of sun in the afternoon, perhaps, as we get more toward the afternoon. And then Monday, this is as far as we've got on the NAM. That's as far as it goes out. It looks like a mostly sunny day, or at least it'll wind up being, hopefully. And hopefully we get some snow enough to make it look pretty, hopefully, but it's not really going to be a huge snowfall. And again, not as far as that, it's nice, powdery type snows. Boy, I miss them. We used to get them all the time, but now with climate change, it's very hard to get them. But that, I think, is going to wrap up this Long Island weather report. So once again, here is your map of the snowfall totals, and this is what I think is the way it's going to be. And it's still, winter weather advisory is still needed and justified. And of course, if you're in Connecticut, the winter storm warning, because you could see the higher amounts there where you won't see that changeover. But with that southeast wind, and the water temperatures of what they are, it's not really going to be favorable for a heavy or even moderate snowfall event. It'll be a light snowfall event. But when that dump happens, and it will last probably only a couple of hours, when that dump happens, it's going to come down, and that's when you get most of your accumulation, your couple of inches in most of Long Island. But other than that, after that thump is gone, we're not really going to see too much. So that thump is going to be interesting, though, and it could be pretty interesting when that thump hits. So we'll have to see what it looks like. I'll try to be out there and show it to you. But anyway, that's going to wrap up this Long Island weather report. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow because we got to talk about the snow. So have a good night.